Hello and welcome back to the Wizard's Arena. My name is Draymore, and today, my fellow Planeswalkers, we will be doing the last day of Strixhaven reviews. First up is this mythical human wizard. He has 6 and 2 blue, 8 huge manas. He's a 5/5, so he's a big beefy wizard. You can discard a card and return them to the owner's hand. That's pretty sick. And for Magecraft, you reveal the top card of your library. If it's a non-land card, you may cast it by paying 1 rather than its mana cost. If it's a land, put it into play. So basically, play a spell, pay 1 more, and do another spell. So that's pretty sweet. And on top of that, he's got a backside. Journey to the Oracle. 2 colors, 2 green. You may put any number of land cards from your hand onto the battlefield. Then if you have 8 or more lands, you may discard a card. If you do, return this back to your hand from the yard. Well, that is just sick. That's where the Oracle hangs out, and that was in the back of the blue guy. So I think for standard, this matters quite a bit. It's again an 8 in standard. And commander, might be good of in the 99, but as a commander, not so much. So I'm only giving this guy a 6. Next up, we have Black's Vexen Pest. 2 and a black. Other pests, bats, insects, snakes, and spiders get +1/+1. So I guess you can go in your green-black spider commander deck, and you can pay 4 life for this 3/2. You gain 4 life when this 3/2 dies. Okay. And on his backside, you search for the blacks. 2 colors, 2 black. Look at the top 5 cards of your library at sorcery speed, and put any number of them into your hand and the rest in your graveyard. Lose 3 life for each card put into your hand this way. This is sort of like Midnight Ritual, except that was 5 and instant and only 2 life. The creature's tribal bonus is very small because that's not really a tribe. So that's a 3 for standard. Because this is a lot of life. In Commander, I'll give it a 5 because we have similar effects that are way more useful, that are instances, and I guess if you want to make the spider deck, it's good in the spider deck as a 1 of the 99, but that's why it's not a 4. Next up, we got another flip card, the Pestilence Cauldron. 2 and a black, tap it, ditch a card, make a pest token. 1 and tap it, each opponent mills cards equal to the amount of life I've gained. 4 and tap it, exile 4 cards from a single graveyard, draw a card. There's better sideboard effects in standard for this. This just seems really underwhelming, and just making a card into a 1/1 is whatever. Other side, Restorative Burst, 3 and 2 green. Return up to 2 creatures or lands or planeswalkers. Every player gains 4 life, and then exile this. So I'm gonna let my opponents gain life. Again, this ain't that good. So overall, we finally did it. We finally found a rare that is just bleh. You wish you got something different. And normally I give the modal cards +1, so that's with a +1. I'm just not really impressed with this at all. Next up, we got the green-black dragon. Flying in 4/4 for 7 mana. At the beginning of each upkeep, make a pest token. Sweet. Pay 10 life, untap all lands you control, activate this only once per turn. Okay, so I can do this every player's turn. That's kind of neat. And then I can also get a dude every turn. It's 7 mana, so I don't think it's going to do anything in standard. I mean, grant you, if you have a found the green black shell or Sultai shell that makes it so you can gain a lot of life, then maybe dropping him for free because you spend all the mana to untap all the life to untap all the lands. Like, maybe that's good, but like, he just seems very underwhelming. So I think what's going to happen here is in standard, he's a 4. Then in commander, he's an 8. And that's about as best as you can hope for. Next up, we have Callous Blood Mage. 2 and a black. When he enters the battlefield, choose 1. Make a pest token. Draw a card, lose a life. Exile a graveyard. Okay, so he can replace himself, make a token, or Bajuka Bog a dude. Vampire Warlock. I feel like he's gonna be in standard like a 4. I think he's more important in historic for more ways to get rid of stuff. That's like a 6, but in commander he is also a 4 again. Like, he's just, you know, he's gonna be a cheap vampire rare, I think, and that if you need to pick up a vampire that's cheap, here you go. Okay, containment breach lesson. Destroy target artifact or enchantment if its MV is 2 or less. Create a black and green pest token. So you can kill anything for 3 from your sideboard. So I think it's a 5 in standard, and commander doesn't care. Next up, the Cullen Ritual. 2, a black and a green. Destroy each non-land permanent with MV 2 or less. Okay. Add a black or a green for each permanent you blow up this way. Oh, that's kind of nifty. I think that in standard this is really cool. You get to wipe out token armies if they are going to be a threat. 7. And in commander, this is also a 7. You get to blow out token decks and make a whole bunch of mana. So, like, this is free, and then you get to have some leftover mana potentially. So, I really like it. I think it's cool. Next up, we have Damogoth, the Woe Eater. 1 black, green hybrid, green. 4 mana for a demon, that's a 7/6. Okay. What's his drawback? Because that's just ridiculous. Beginning of your upkeep, sack a dude. Okay? When you sacrifice the Woe Eater, each opponent discards a card, you draw a card, and gain 2 life. Okay, so worst case scenario, you make a big fat blocker, and you make your opponent stitch a card, you draw, and gain 2 life for 4 mana. Like, this seems good, and it's uncommon. This whole cycle has been kind of weird. I feel like that he will probably be a 6 in standard, and then in commander a little better at 7. Like my black-green troll deck will want it. That makes the tramples, because I'm always making tokens, so keeping them out will be easy. Next up, we got Damagos Titan, 4 black-green hybrid, 11/10. Oh baby. If he attacks or blocks, sack a creature. So I just stand here, not moving, and you got an 11/10. Sounds good. Again, kind of similar to the previous guy. So we're going to give him a 7 in standard. Again, it will be an 8 in commander. I'll also stick this guy, my black-green troll, tramples, make a plant token every turn. On to our next card. The Deadly Brew. Black and a green, sorcery. Each player sacks a creature or planeswalker. If you sacrifice a permanent this way, you may return another permanent you control from your graveyard to your hand. They seem to be taking the regrowth effect and stapling on a lot of things. Instead of costing 2 mana, they've realized that that's too much and they're bringing it down in cost. In standard, I feel like that this is a 4, and in commander, this is a 7. Next up, the girl that we just saw, the Soul Steeper. Black and a green for a 1/3 Dryad Druid. Whenever you gain life, each opponent loses 1 life. Okay. 1, sack another dude. She gets +X/+0 to end of turn, where X is the power. Okay. Interesting. I think she's going to be like a 3 in standard, not used that much. In commander, maybe a 5. It depends what you're trying to do. You just flunked. Okay, really, we flunked. Callous, black, instant. Target creature gets -X/-X until end of turn, while X is -7. Minus the number of cards in that creature's control's hand. They got 4 cards in hand. Thing gets -3/-3 and dies. There's so much good black removal in this set. So much good removal in standard. Standard doesn't care. It gets a 3 there. Commander has so much better removal. It doesn't care. It's just a 3 there too. Like, whatever. Next up. Harness the Infinity. Well, that's a lot of mana symbols. 1 colorless, 3 black, 4 green. For 7, what's this thing do? Exchange your hand with the graveyard. Well, that's crazy, and you exile this. Okay, whatever. Crazy card. Oh, wait, it's an instant? Oh, never mind. This thing just got crazy better. In standard, I think it's only going to be a 3. But in commander, oh, baby. This is an 8. Black-green is pumped. End of your turn, I take my 3-card hand and get a 13-card hand. And then I untap everything and do crazy shenanigans. Sure. Next up. The Ingenuous Mastery. The last mastery. Okay. X, 2 and a blue. You may pay 2 and a blue rather than pay the spell's cost. If you did 2 and a blue, you draw 3 cards and your opponent creates 2 treasure tokens, scry 2, and if that cost isn't paid, you draw X cards. Okay. So that just sounds like to me you're helping people out in standard way too much. So that's a 2. In commander, this is a 7. You can get around things that help out your opponents because you can give it to someone that's so far behind it just doesn't matter. You could be building a pillow fort deck and it just doesn't matter. So it can be more useful in commander because there's more than one player, so it's not that bad. Moving on. Lash of Malice. Quick common to talk about. Target creature gets +2/-2 to end of turn. With it being 1 mana value, it's good for Magecraft, so I could potentially see this wandering into Magecraft decks, especially the black-white ones or black-green ones. So, it's just something to mention. You know, it's common. But you'll need things like this to make, like, you got this and opt and stuff like that to make Magecraft do its thing. Mage Hunter's Onslaught. Okay. So, if you told me this was a Strixhaven card and just showed me the art, I'd go, what the heck's going on? 2 and 2 black, common, destroy a target creature or planeswalker as sorcery. Whenever a creature blocks this turn, its control loses 1 life. Interested. I feel like this card should be in the second set of Strixhaven. We really lose out when there's only 2. Lose out when there's only 1 set for a block. Ikoria needed a second set in the block. Throne of Eldraine really needed a second set. This is another one like Strixhaven. Oh, I thought we were learning, but like these things are running all over the place. Fire's fallen. I've heard that there's like a demon there doing a thing, or someone's trying to summon a demon. It's like the first set should be Send Up the World, second one tell a story. But I just don't understand why this art is in this set. Like, whatever. This is nice. Not so much in standard, but in commander. If you're on a budget, it's a good way to get rid of creatures or planeswalkers. Next up, the Morality Spear. 2 a black and a green. Spell costs 2 less to cast if you gain life this turn. Instant. I feel like because it's destroying a target non-land permanent, it gives a lot of flexibility, and if black-green's going to be a thing, it gets a 5 in standard, and in commander will also get a 5 because it's blowing up anything but land. And if the black-green deck takes offense, commander, or the Abzan deck, then this is a thing. If not, it's still 4 mana at an uncommon that destroys a thing. So for budget players, this is again another decent removal spell. This set is just giving us so much removal, it's just crazy. Next up, the Orac Lore Mage. 2 black, human warlock. Okay, he's a 3/3. What are you doing, sir? Tap. Search a library for a card. Put it in your graveyard, then shuffle. If it's an instant or sorcery, put a +1/+1 counter on him. Okay. So, this is interesting because some of the decks or mechanics like red-blue or something like that do stuff with instants and sorceries in your graveyard. Several colors do. I'll give this a 4 because it's going to be awkward to do like Grixis because we have the enemy tri-lands, not the allied. But in commander, oh baby, hold on to your butts. This is a 7 because you can go cast it, Just activate it, get a creature, put into your graveyard, because you can. It's any card. It doesn't make him bigger. So he's like living Entomb on a stick. Sold. Entomb is so much money right now. Played all the reanimation stuff. You know, play a commander that lets you play stuff out of the graveyard, like Muldrotha. Like, yeah, just jam this in there. Next up. Plum the Forbidden. Colorless and a black. Instant. It's an additional cost to cast a spell. Sacrifice one or more dudes. When you do, copy the spell for each creature you sacrifice. Draw a card, lose a life. Well then. I have this in my hand. You wrath the board in response for 2 mana. I sacrifice my board. So we'll say I had 4 dudes out. I lose 4 life, draw 4 cards. Sweet. In standard, I think this is very limited because it's situational. I'll give it a 4. In commander, wraths happen more often. And so I'll give it a 7. Plus, you know, putting creatures in your yard to trigger other effects is, you know, it's, you know, okay. So I think this is fair. Moving on. The Poet's Quill. Colorless and a black on artifact equipment. When it comes into play, learn. Equipped creature gets +1/+1, has lifelink, equip at 2. It seems fair. Not broken. Not terrible, just meh. Commander doesn't care because it's learning. It's 4. Moving on. Rushed Rebirth. Okay. So this is some things to talk about. Black and a green instant. Choose a creature. When this creature dies this turn, search your library for a creature card with lesser MV and put it into play tapped. Then shuffle. So I respond to you playing Heartless Act. Kill my guy. I search, get a replacement. Okay. Again, it's situational in standard. It's like a 3. But in other formats, Eternal formats, I see this being a 7. And also in Commander, this is a 7. Because there's just so many instances of where like a threat would get killed. Or you can target your commander with this. So there's just a lot of payoffs to this. I like it a lot. It's nice to see some good black-green cards. Next up. We got a human warlock. 2 and a black for a menace with a ward of pain 3 life to target this creature. Magecraft that makes pest tokens. Okay. So 2 and a black for a 3/2 menace. It's a human, which kind of matters. Warlock doesn't help party. So standard, I feel like it's a 4. Commander, it seems like it's a 5. It's just not that great. It's okay. Next up. Tempted by the orac. Colorless, 3 blue. For each opponent, gain control of up to 1 target creature or walker with MV 3 or less. Sort of like Threads of Disloyalty, but not quite. Slightly better. I'll give this a 5 in standard because you don't have to give the creature back. So that's kind of cool. It's commander, because the MV is 3. I don't see it being that useful, so 5 for standard, and that's it. Moving on. 10 to the pests. A black and a green instant. In addition to casting this, we have to sack a dude, create X pest tokens, where X is that creature's power. Okay, so like a guy's dying. Again, I can sacrifice it to make a bunch of dudes. So another one of these conditional ones, if my guy's going to the graveyard, I can make a lot of dudes and respawns. So it's like a 4 again. It's one of these things that's like, okay, maybe in certain scenarios it's really good. It's not going to break the bank. Same thing in Commander. Might be a 5 in Commander, but probably a 4. Now, that brings us to the last card of the set. Strixhaven is done. We'll be having deck coverage soon for the 5 Commander decks. The big takeaways I have from this set is that, unlike Zendikar, there were no cards that were like super bananas, really crazy. And like Magecraft definitely seems like a thing, but Learn is like okay. Like what makes Learn better than pretty useless is you can always do Learn, but it doesn't help Commander out. They're just coming out with another keyword for the fun of it. So that's where we stand there. Overall, though, with the power of the cards and the mechanics and the guilds, I feel like this set, like if like Zendikar was like an 8, that this is a definite pulling the power levels back. There was no Omnath, nothing that we thought was like worthy of a 10. I feel like that this set is just a 5. Like overall, it just seems like it's okay. There's like lots of cyborg tech here because of lessons. It's gonna. I could be wrong. Lessons could be better than I'm thinking, and they could be a 6 for the set overall. But it seems like they're pulling stuff back a little bit. So with that said, my name's been Draymore of the Wizards Arena. This concludes Strixhaven Review. I'll see you guys in the next video for Commander decks starting tomorrow. And you all have yourselves a great day. Please like, share, and subscribe, and comment below.